Today I want to talk to you about keywords because keywords are so important for the success of your low content book publishing business. So should you fill in all the 7 back-end keyword slots? Should you just put one keyword in each box? How do you do this? Well, have a look at this video and you'll find out. Hello Home Bosses, my name is Nuria Corby from thehomeboss.com. Welcome to my channel, which is all about helping you to make money online. And today we're talking about low content book publishing again. And in particular, I want to tell you about keywords. Keywords are so important in this business because it's how people find your books. For example, if you go on Amazon and you want to buy something, say you want to buy the latest iPhone. So you type in iPhone into the search bar and Amazon then shows you all the results that Amazon thinks are relevant to you. So iPhone is a keyword. Or for example, you want to buy a teddy bear for your child and you type in teddy bear, and that is what you're typing into Amazon to get the results, to find the products that you're looking for. And your books are absolutely the same. When people are looking for a book, they're typing in what they're looking for. So if they're looking for a notebook, they'll type in notebooks. If they're looking for a gratitude journal, they will type in gratitude journal, and those are all keywords. But we know that if we just type in notebook, we get hundreds, if not thousands of results. And we're looking at it from the seller point of view. We want people to find our book. So how can we use keywords for people to find our books? What kind of keywords are the ones that we need to have in our metadata to be found by our potential buyers? So that is the tricky question, and that is where really you can have success or you can fail, because sometimes we're using keywords that nobody is looking for. Sometimes we're using keywords that have such high competition that our books are just lost in all the other books that have the same keywords. So, it's a really tricky thing to master. So if you can find the right kind of keywords, that will really help with the sales of your books. We need to find out a little bit more about keywords. There are 2 things that happen when we use keywords on Amazon. One is called indexing and the other one is called ranking. So what is indexing? What do we mean when we say that Amazon has indexed our books? So when we type in a keyword and our book comes up, that means that Amazon has indexed our book for that keyword. So what indexing means is that Amazon acknowledges that our book should come up for that particular keyword or should come up for the keywords that we want. And ranking is something different. Ranking is the position your book shows up for a particular keyword. So if you're ranking on page 1, so that means that you would be ranking quite high, and that's what you want to achieve. You want to rank your books as highly as possible, but your books also have to be indexed for the right keywords. So both of those things work together. And how can we help the whole situation? Well, we can use our keywords in 2 very important places. The first is the title and the subtitle. That is the most important place to put our keywords in, because the title and the subtitle carry the most weight. That means that Amazon gives the title and subtitle the highest importance. It is where our keywords matter the most. So use your best keywords for your title and your subtitle. And the 7 back-end keyword slots, when you upload your books, you come to a section where you can enter your keywords into 7 slots. You are allowed 50 characters for each slot. And this is where people get confused. They think, well, shall I use the 50 characters, or do I just put one word in each slot, or do I use long tail keywords or short tail keywords? How do I do this? So don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. The most important thing is to use keywords that are relevant to your book. So, for example, if you have a book that is a gratitude journal, a big mistake that I see people make sometimes is that they put in keywords that are not relevant. They'll put in gratitude journal and then they'll put in prayer journal or relaxation journal. And if your gratitude journal hasn't actually got prayer content in it, then it's kind of a wrong keyword to associate with your book, and it's not used in the best way. The same as using for relaxation. A gratitude journal doesn't really have anything to do with relaxation. So your keywords have to be relevant. And I see that very often when I do my research. I see that a lot of people are using keywords that are really not related to their book. And you shouldn't use keywords like that because Amazon doesn't really like that, and they can easily put your books way behind in the search. So you're not gaining anything by doing that. In fact, you're harming your ranking or even your indexing. You know, it's not something that Amazon likes you or wants you to do. There isn't any advantage. I know why people are doing it. I know that people think that if they're using lots of keywords, then if someone uses that keyword and their book comes up, you know, at least they see my book, they might buy it. But people don't do that. When people are searching on Amazon, they know what they want to buy. They're very specific about what they're looking for. And if things come up that are not related to what they're looking for, they dismiss it and they really won't buy it. What happens then is that Amazon notices that your book has come up in a lot of searches, but people haven't bought it. And then what Amazon does is that it puts your book right to the end because it thinks that your book is not attractive to buyers. So you're really harming your visibility by using irrelevant keywords. So it's best not to do that. And another thing that you shouldn't do is to repeat keywords. It doesn't really harm your account or your book if you repeat keywords, but it doesn't help you either. It doesn't give you any advantage whatsoever. And what it does is it takes away the opportunity for you to use a different keyword in that space. So your space is limited for keywords. So try and use that space in the best way possible by not repeating keywords because it's unnecessary. At the same time, I don't want you to think that you really have to fill in the whole spaces. You don't have to. You know, it's much better to have 3 really good keywords that are relevant to your book than to have 20 keywords that are not really doing your book any favors. So it's not important to fill out the keyword slots with as many keywords as possible. That's not what it's all about. It's about finding good keywords, and I'll tell you in a minute what that is. And it's about finding relevant keywords, keywords that really apply to your book, so that when your book is shown to a potential buyer, that buyer thinks, yes, this is what I was looking for, and doesn't just dismiss it. You know, you want your books to come up for the right buyer. There's no point in your book coming up when that buyer isn't really interested in your book, because that will harm your book because the buyer isn't buying it. He's seen your book and he's not bought it, so Amazon thinks, okay, this book is not attractive to people. So you really want to avoid that, and you want people that are really interested in your type of book to see your books. So what do I mean by your best keyword? I said earlier that you should put your best keywords in your title and in your subtitle. Your best keywords are the ones that have a good volume of searches. So you want that to be a keyword that people are actually searching for. Now this is where there's a problem, because Amazon doesn't tell anybody what the search volume is for a keyword. And there are lots of tools that you can buy, and lots of free ones as well, that can help you with research. And when they tell you the Amazon search volume, they're not actually telling you the Amazon search volume, they're telling you the Google search volume. And searching on Google is not the same as searching on Amazon, because people who search on Google, they might be searching for something completely different, whereas people searching on Amazon are searching to buy. So Amazon search volume and Google search volume hasn't really got a lot in common, because it's a different purpose behind the search. So how do we know that a keyword has good search volume on Amazon? Well, we don't. We can't know it, because Amazon, this is something that Amazon keeps very secret. And there are tools that show you search volume, and they base it on Google. But also there are some tools that use their own algorithm to guess the search volume. And some tools are actually pretty close to the reality. Tools like that are, for example, Publisher Rocket. They have an algorithm inbuilt that helps you with the Amazon search volume. It's not just the Google search volume. Helium 10 is another one that's really good. There are a few good search tools out there that can help. And don't forget that all those tools are really just there to help you. They don't guarantee any sales. They don't guarantee success. They are just there to save you time, and they do that effectively. I do like some of those tools, and I will make a video and show you what I use personally and which ones I really like. But the other tool that you can use is your brain, and that is the best way to really look at things. You have to use your common sense a little bit. If nobody's looking for something on Google, then we can kind of assume that I don't think they're going to be looking for it on Amazon either. So Google search volume can help a little bit, but I just wanted you to know that it's very different from Amazon search volume, and Amazon search volume is something that Amazon keeps a secret. And that's why I always say, understand your niche. If you're making a book in a niche that you understand, then you have a good idea about what people are searching for, and that really helps tremendously with the success of your book. So it's always better to make books in niches that you understand, or niches that you can research very well, rather than making books in things that you don't really understand and you're just copying what other people do. I recommend that you don't do that, because I have seen a lot of people copying niches, copying books, and that doesn't help. That doesn't bring you any sales, and you're doing the business wrong. And you're by doing that, you're kind of risking your account, and you're not doing it in the right way. So make books in niches that you understand, and we all have knowledge in some things that we can make books about. So Amazon gives your title and subtitle the most power, and we want to put our best keywords in the title and subtitle. Like I said, the best keywords are the ones that have a high search volume. But also the other thing to consider is low competition. And that's another very tricky thing, because I think that most well-known niches have got quite a lot of competition by now. So this is when people say Amazon is saturated, you can't make any money on Amazon because everybody's making low content books. Yes, it is saturated, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a good business making low content books. You just have to combine your knowledge on the niche and your skills to make a better book than the ones that are already on Amazon. And sometimes that just means making something a little bit different. Sometimes it just means looking at the feedback and finding out whether people are looking for something slightly different. I find that helps a lot. Look at people's feedback in the niches that you're looking at and find if there's anything that people are commenting on. Sometimes I see things like, oh, this is a really lovely logbook, but I wish it was a smaller size. Or even the other way around. Some people are saying, this is a great logbook, but I wish it was bigger so that I can read the text better. So you have to look at a niche, and when you do your niche research, don't just look at search volume and competition volume. Look at the actual books. look at the feedback that people have, and investigate the niches a little bit. If you don't know a lot about the niche, try and find out more about it. So those are all things that you need to take into account when you are using your keywords. And to recap it all, your title and subtitle carry the most weight. They are your more powerful keywords. And put more keywords in the 7 keyword slots, but don't repeat them. And also make them very relevant to your book. Don't put in keywords that are not that relevant to your book, because that just means that people won't buy your book when your book comes up, because it's not what they were looking for. And that can hurt you rather than help you. So we don't want to do that. We want our books to make sales. So let's try and do all the right things. So I will make some more videos on how to use keywords and how to research keywords, and I hope that's helpful to you. And if you want to find out more about how to make low content books and you want to make your first notebook or journal, I've got a really good playlist that walks you through the steps right from the beginning. I'll leave that playlist up here. You should also watch this video here, so you've got a choice. And I'll see you again in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.